Aditya, and today we'll start a Leetcode question. So the question is flatten nested list iterator. So you'll be given a nested list of integers, nested list. Each element is either an integer or a list whose element may also be an integer or other lists. Implement an iterator to flatten it. Implement the nested iterator class. So nested iterator, it initializes the iterator with the nested list. Okay, next int int next returns the next integer in the nested list. Then we have boolean has next. It returns true or false according to the integers availability. If there are some integers there in the nested list, it will return true, otherwise false. So this is our judgment criteria. Then we have this first example. So you can see this is a nested list, a list inside a list, a list inside a list. We have to flatten it. Like if we find an integer, we have to write it. If we find a list, we have to flatten it. So you can see it like list inside a list, list inside a list, and we have to flatten it. That means you can clearly see. If you're not getting, like, I'll tell you, the thing is we are having you should get the recursion in your head watching this thing, because this what we are doing to this outer list is exactly the same as we are doing with the inner list. So recursion is playing a role here. So I hope you got the idea. Then the second example, 146, you can see the list inside a list inside a list. So 146. So that's the question we have. Now let us see the interface they have. So the first is integer. It's a method is integer. It returns true if a nested integer holds a single integer rather than a nested list. Okay. If it is an integer, it will return true. Second one is get integer. Okay. Return the single integer that this nest integer holds. If it holds a single integer. Okay. Okay. So if there is an integer, it will return integer. If there will be a list, nested list, it will not. It will return null. Then we have third one, get list. It returns the nested list if it holds a nested list. Otherwise, if it holds a single integer, it will return empty list. Okay, so now we can start our question. So we are given the iterator, nested iterator. Okay. Okay, so first we'll make the list. First we'll make the variables. We'll start with it null. Iterator is given in this. You can say this iterator. Let's name the integer, right? ER, and we'll declare it. Now comes to nested iterator method. So let us initialize the answer list. Now we have to flatten it. So we'll make a function to flatten it. Let's name it flatten only, and we'll take nested integer as a parameter. Then we have to call this function with this nested list, flatten. Okay, now if we find an integer, we will put it into the answer list. Otherwise, if we find a list, we will iterate it. So we'll use recursion here. So now let's start. Array, we have forgotten the type of function now. Okay, we'll make a for loop for nested integer. We'll make this current element. If this is if current element, now we'll use this method to check whether the current element is integer or a list. So if it is an integer, it will return true, and what we'll do is we will add that into our answer list. Current element, sorry. Dot get integer. Get integer. It gives us that integer. Else, what we can do is we can recurse. We'll get back to that. If it is a list, we will recurse it again to get the element of this list. Now we'll use that get list method. Okay. Now we will have to use iterator. Okay. So now our iterator should iterate through that answer list. Iterator is an inbuilt function in Java, so no need to worry. This function is an inbuilt function in Java. We can use from there on also. Now let's go to the next function we have. So next function, we have to go to next element. So we'll use the condition if iter has, because we have iterated, and after that if iter has next, it has next value, we will return dot next. So it will keep on going next to next. Otherwise, it will stop and will return null. Now has next is easy. Like if it will check if it has next. If it has, it will return iterator dot has next. That's what I see in the question. Let us see how it goes. Oh, great. Thank you. Submit it. Let us submit it. Okay. Thank you so much. So that's how you have to do with this question. I hope you all have got the recursive method. I have used the recursion. There are several other methods also, like you can use stack also. I can see the stack can also be useful here. But recursion, I found recursion very easy here. So I hope you would like it. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. I will also put my YouTube channel's uh, link in the description. You can go and follow that also. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sujan and Harsha and Mahidar, for giving me a chance to come up on their channel and present before you guys this very interesting solution. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone. Bye.